Hey, this is Joe with Grow It Build It, and today I'm going to tell you about Liatris Spicata. This is a perennial wildflower native to North America. It likes full sun, will grow between 2 to 4 feet tall depending on conditions. It's very adaptable in that it can take a drought, but it also does well in moist soil, or does the best out of all Liatris. You just want to make sure it can drain somewhat. Um, but the common names for it are blazing star, dense blazing star, marsh blazing star, hence the moisture in the soil is okay, and also gay feather. But this is a very showy perennial. It blooms as a flowering stalk, starting at the top and working its way to the bottom, and it takes around 4 to 6 weeks. I want to say 6 weeks, up to there, but at least a month for sure. It's great when you have a mass planting of this, but a single species is pretty cool too, or single specimen. But it really brings in a lot of wildlife and is extremely showy. It does make a good cut flower, and it can be dead-headed as well if you take the whole stalk down to the base of the grass-like foliage. But I really like this plant. It's easy to grow from seed. It's really easy to grow if you go buy a bag of corms, which are kind of like bulbs. You can buy those. I'll find one of them and put a link at the description. It's about the cheapest way to get it, but at the same time, from seed, it's not too bad. It does need a cold, moist stratification period or to be winter sown, and you do better the fresher your seed is. But I'll put a card up at the right to cold, moist stratify if you're watching this in the summer and you want to try to stratify them in the fridge. But the key thing here is to don't plant them too deep. 3 millimeters is about the max I would plant them for depth. So I'll usually start there, sprinkle just a layer of soil on top that's maybe a millimeter thick. So 1/16 of an inch or so, and then I'll put a few seeds on top of the soil at the end and press them in. Now you can see here that's what the seedlings look like, but you can also see that seeds are germinating directly on top of the soil. So I mean, the references on this are all over the map. Some people say to plant them a 1/4 inch deep, which to me is insane. Um, Others say to put them on the surface. Well, the surface seems to work fine, or just underneath the soil seems to work fine for me. These are regular seedlings that just popped up in the flower bed that they were in. I mean, so they will spread a little bit that way too. But that's what they look like when they're emerging in the spring. So it's really just like a clump of grass. And then the main pollinator you're going to see is bumblebees. The thing is covered in bumblebees the whole time it's blooming, but you'll see a fair amount of small skipper butterflies and just smaller butterflies. But I really like watching those goldfinches go after the seeds, though. That's kind of my favorite thing. And they'll go after them as soon as the bloom starts working down the stalk. But anyways, to get seed from it, if you just wait till the stalks totally turn brown in late summer, you can see I just pulled off a few right there. Looks like little badminton birdies. If you want to get industrial on saving the seed, it's real easy to do that too. Just clip the stalks, put them in a paper bag for just a couple, 3 days, and then you can just basically run your hand over the stalk and you will shed 1,000 seeds probably, or a whole lot of seed. How much of those are viable? I think quite a few of them are. But anyways, unless you're going to plant them in a good condition or in good conditions for the plant, so they germinate next spring, you want to store them in a Ziploc bag in the fridge. Now, companion plants, I like to put it with cardinal flowers, blue labella or lobelia, and also wine cup flowers and coreopsis. But I mean, they start blooming in like late May and they'll go right up until August roughly. So it's very versatile. It'll overlap with a lot of species, gives you a lot of opportunity. But it's really a good plant. The one thing you got to watch out for is animals. So rabbits will eat them when they're small, deer will eat them when they're a little older, and if you have a big problem with voles, they're going to dig up those bulbs, or not dig them up, but they're going to eat the bulbs. So liquid fence will protect them from the rabbits and the deer. But for the voles, well, get creative on that. That's all I'm going to say. You can divide these plants every couple, 3 years. So this one didn't necessarily need to be divided, but I just figured I'd do it for demonstration. So this was in February. Everything was dormant, and you can see I just dug it up around the outside edge there and knock away the excess dirt, and then you basically just need to cut it in half. And you can actually like pop off individual corms if you want to, which I did here just because it was kind of on accident, but it worked, and I planted it and it grew. So I have a little pocket saw that you'd use for like camping that works really well for this because it's like a solid, massive bulb. Um, so I find it easiest just to saw through it. It goes really quick, but you can use a knife, you can use a shovel. But it's nice to do this when it's cold and dormant because there's a lot less that can go wrong. So here's one of the halves, and you can see there's a whole bunch of individual corms there. There's the one little one that I just accidentally snapped off, but it's fine. We'll see it in a minute after it's emerged in the spring. But yeah, it's a real easy plant to divide though, so you can just replant these and they will grow, which we'll do right here. If you did this after the plant had emerged, you got to worry about watering it, make sure everything's moist, and not damaging the active growing roots. If you do it while it's dormant, the plant's basically in a coma. You can do it in the spring, it's just going to wake up and be like, hey, how'd I get here? And it'll just start growing. But you just need to plant it back to the same depth that you took it out at. You know, if it was happy before, it'll be happy at that same depth again. And then just wait until you know, temperatures warm up and they start to emerge. And it's also kind of cool because you can take one plant, and in this case I'm going to turn one into three. Now only two of them are probably going to bloom, the two big chunks, but still I got a free, you know, 2 extra plants out of the deal for no money. But that little individual bulb right there, I mean, that's what you normally get when you buy a bag of corms at like, you can buy them at, I've seen them at like garden centers, but you can get them on Amazon too, I think. Check links in the description. I should have something. But we'll take a look here, and you can see that these are the ones that I divided, and they're all growing and emerging. So success. But if you want to read more about this, our website, growupbuiltit.com, we've got an article on this plant and some other info on Liatris that you might find useful. So you can go there and check it out. But that's the first clump that I divided, I guess you could say. And then over here we should be able to see, there it was, there it is again. Okay, that's the individual little corm. So it survived and it's growing. It's probably not going to bloom this year, maybe one single stalk, but nonetheless I have a living plant, so that's cool. But anyways, hopefully you guys found this video useful. This is a really cool plant to grow. I think you'd really enjoy it. We like ours. You can just kind of sit on our front porch and watch everything, feeding on the nectar and the pollen and enjoying life. It is kind of fun when a hummingbird comes down and it'll start to feed on it, then it'll see us sitting there and getting out our phones to try to film it, and then it's gone instantly, as always, but still we like it. But if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and have a good day.